I've talked about the hero's journey a few times on my channel, and the reason for that is because a lot of stories follow that template in some way or another. Final Fantasy IV's main character Cecil is a classic example of this. I touched on it briefly during my Final Fantasy IV video, but I didn't go into too much detail due to the fact that the video still came out to be 40 minutes even without that entire side tangent. So first things first, what is a hero's journey? Essentially, it's a story structure that is split into 3 sections that involve a hero going on an adventure, facing a crisis, and coming home. The 3 phases are usually called the departure, initiation, and return. That's usually all I cover in my videos, however, the hero's journey consists of 12 steps, and we're gonna get into them all. The first step is often us, the audience, witnessing the day-to-day life of our hero, the status quo or the mundane. Final Fantasy IV already subverts this expectation, because the game opens with the 2 Baron Redwings narrating to the audience that something that has happened is bothering Cecil, though we're not sure what in that moment. It is after we return to Baron that we learn of Cecil's life as Lord Captain of the Baron Redwings, his responsibility to be that of carrying out the will of his father figure, the King of Baron. The game makes it clear that while Cecil continues to follow orders and live his day-to-day life, he is unsatisfied and uneasy with the loyalty he has placed in his king, but lacks the courage and resolve to go about addressing his concerns. That is, until Cecil is sent to Mysidia to steal their crystal. The Mysidians are an island of mages and are a peaceful people, and yet he cuts them down all to fulfill the order he was given. This is the event we see narrated at the start of the game. The journey to Mysidia is when Cecil truly begins to self-reflect, and desires simultaneously change in himself, but for his king to return to the kind-hearted man he was in the past. However, while these doubts arise and linger, Cecil ignores them and obeys his king once more when he is sent to deliver a ring to the summoner town of Mist. There he sees once again the cruelty that he has been a begrudging but willing participant to, with the ring turning out to be a means to burn down the village, and the death of the young summoner Rydia's mother by Cecil's own hand. He vows that he will no longer serve the king. The next section of the hero's journey is our character meeting a mentor. This typically takes the form of someone wise that will guide our hero, like Yoda from Star Wars or Dumbledore and Hagrid in the first few Harry Potter books. I believe Final Fantasy IV once again subverts expectations by having these mentors for Cecil take the form of young children in Rydia and, to a lesser extent, Palom and Porom. We are introduced to characters that fit this mentor description much better, such as Tella, Cid, the Elder of Mysidia, or even Fusoya. However, it was Rydia's presence and temperament, and his own desire to atone for what he put her through, that allows Cecil to begin his transformation. Palom and Porom are Mysidian youths, the youngest characters in the game at just 5 years old. They represent the entire Mysidian community, harboring their ideals and being trained to one day take up the mantle of High Elder. Despite the massacre of the Mysidians being something that can never be undone, by taking on the role of Palom and Porom's protector under the guise that they are the ones protecting Cecil, he earns their approval and is able to make further steps in self-forgiveness, ultimately allowing him to be worthy of the title Paladin and casting off his dark armor. This is also the 5th step of Cecil's hero journey, crossing the threshold. After the events of Mysidia, Cecil is able to return home and meet back up with Young and Cid. He is also able to confront the King of Baron and learn of the true evil behind his father figure's misdeeds. With the defeat of Cognazzo and the petrification of Palom and Porom, we are fully thrust on a journey to save the known world Golbez and the evil forces he works alongside are trying to destroy. During this time, Cecil is reunited with friends and allies alike, such as Kain, Rydia, and Rosa. Together, they face many trials, racing against the clock to protect the crystals in a fruitless endeavor. It is as they approach the Lunar Palace, their own world and friends left behind, that Cecil faces the fear of losing those he loves, and letting down those he left behind. Despite the game leaving us and Cecil on a hopeful note with the return of many allies previously thought dead, the air is heavy with the knowledge that losing the fight ahead would mean losing the world as they knew it. It is in his darkest hour, against Zeromus, alone and weak and damn near defeated, that Cecil stands up. Spurred on by the voices of friends left behind, that Cecil is able to re-establish his conviction and destroy Zeromus once and for all. Through this ordeal, Cecil is able to confront his past, gaining a brother and passing on the forgiveness he learned from those important to him. Reconciliation with all of those wronged and betrayed, and those who sought forgiveness for past wrongdoings, is what Cecil gains from his journey, and the building blocks of which his relationship with Golbez is built upon in the after years. Following the end of the conflict, we see Cecil take his place in his new role as the King of Baron, one he takes with the utmost of seriousness. We see the world community come together to assist with reconstructing all that was lost and destroyed, and for a time things are peaceful, and Cecil's journey is complete. The after years, while predominantly Theodore's story, is a continuation of Cecil's inner turmoil. However, he now takes the place of the one being controlled against his will, partaking in actions he would never condone in a lucid state. All of this is due to the return of Zeromus and the mysterious girl, spurring Cecil once more to take his place among the stars to save humanity from the Lunarian people. This time, the defeat of Zeromus really does mark the end of his journey, and with it, a new beginning of his relationship with his son Theodore, one that holds the communication, trust, and love Cecil wished he had with his own father. In conclusion, while Cecil's story is very much a classic one following the major beats of a hero's journey, it shows a tale of gaining forgiveness, for oneself just as much as for others, of love and compassion, and of coming together and seeing things through. Despite the competition being quite stiff, Cecil will always remain a Final Fantasy protagonist I am very fond of. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.